Hi, welcome to the Lex Code channel where we learn to code together. This video is a part of series called Learn C# for Game Development, where we learn the basics of this programming language needed to later learn game development with Unity. Today we're talking about conditionals, so let's dive right into it. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your comment under the video. This will help me with the algorithm a lot, so thank you very much in advance. So, what are conditionals? Conditionals are basically expressions that, oh my god, what is happening? Okay, it's back. Conditionals are basically expressions that evaluate to either true or false, and they help us make decisions in our programs. Basically, we check if something is true, and if it's true, then do this. If it's false, then do something else. Let's take a look at the syntax for writing conditionals. We begin by writing an if statement, and then we put the condition in the parentheses. Then we put square brackets, and inside of these square brackets, we write commands that we want to be executed in case our condition, our check, returns true. The Boolean value that we discussed in the previous lesson. So imagine we want to check if our user is older than 18, and in this case, we let them play our game. Otherwise, we don't want them to have access to our game. So we say if age is more than 18, age in this case is some variable that we store, and if it's true, we will output the welcoming message. But say we don't want the users, or let's put it the other way, if the user is less than 18 years old, then what are we going to do? In this particular case, our program does nothing. It just exits because we only checking if the age is more than 18. But how do we consider the case when this particular expression returns false? And this is where the else keyword comes in. Else basically means if the initial check returned false, do this thing. So we say if age is more than 18, then say welcome. Else, or in human language otherwise, say you're too young. So this is what the else keyword is for. There might be another case. Say we want to check for, we want user to input a number. Let's take another program. And we want to check if number is 1 or if it's 2. And if it's 1, we want to say the number is 1. If it's 2, we want to say the number is 2. And then if it's anything else, we'll just say the number is something else. And in this case, we have the else if expression. That basically means not any other case, but some other particular case. So we can say if number equals 1, then we output the number is 1. Else if number is 2, then we will output the number is 2. And then else, so any other case, we will say the number is something else. As you can see here, if we have if and then else if, we put all else ifs after the if expression, and then we put else at the end. So that means basically any other case other than those that we covered above with if, and else if. When checking for certain conditions, we use different operators. We can use comparison operators and logical operators. You've already seen the equal to operators, and in this case, it's 2 equal signs because 1 equal sign means assignment of a variable. That's why we use 2 equal signs if we want to check if something equals to something. The exclamation mark with equal sign means not equal to. So if we want to check that something is not equal to something, then we can use this operator. We have less than, greater than or equal to. For example, if our variable age is more than or equal to 18, so in this case, we include those who are also 18 years old. And then we have the logical operators that allow us to check for several conditions at the same time. For example, we have AND, which means if this condition and another condition are both true, then do this. It might be 3 or 4, any number of conditions, but it means that they all must be true. Then we have the OR operator, which means one of the several conditions must be true, at least one of them. And then we have the not sign, which you've already seen here in not equal to. Let's move to Visual Studio and write some code to practice. I'm going to open it here, create a new project, console app. I'm going to call it Conditionals. Click next and create. Visual Studio opens. Let's delete the initial statement. And now let's write a program. So imagine we want to check for our user's password. Imagine we're logging user in and we want to check for their password, or let's better say we want them to register. And now they're entering their password and we want to check if this password is good enough, if it's secure enough. You know how they tell you if your password is safe enough, and then if it's not, then they don't let you register. That kind of program. So let's start by writing console write line, enter your password, and then we'll read a prompt from the user. So we're going to store it in a variable, type string, call it password, and it's going to be console read line. So we prompt user for the password, they enter their password, and now we want to check. Let's say we want to check if the password is too simple. We're going to tell our user that it's not good enough. And for this particular case, let's take a case where their password is hello world. So that password is too simple and we're not going to let it through. So let's say if password equals, remember we use 2 equal signs because that's how we compare something, not assigning a variable. And then we'll say if password equals hello world, we will open the brackets and we'll say your password is too simple. Let's see if that works. We'll run our program. Okay, so it says enter your password. I'm going to say hello world. And now it says your password is too simple and our program exits. Okay, cool. Now let's say our user entered another password and that way it's good. So we want to output welcome or you've now registered, congratulations, or something like that. So in this case, we're going to use our else keyword, and as you can see, the IDE already suggests that. So let's say else, and then open curly brackets and say console write line. You have successfully registered. Let's see if that works. So we will say enter your password. Let it be friends is the best show. You have successfully registered. Amazing. Let's say we want to check for another case. And in this case, we're going to be checking if the password is, let's say, what is the most popular password? QWERTY, probably. So let's say else if password equals QWERTY, and let's just say this case is so popular that we just want to say QWERTY is too simple of a password. So here we're using our else if statement. We can put another one below. Just remember that all else if statements go before the else statement, because in this case it considers for all cases that were not considered in the initial if statement and then in the following else if statements. Okay, cool. Let's see if that works. So let's try to enter QWERTY as our password. And it says QWERTY is too simple of a password. Okay. There might be another case, actually, when our user enters a password that is too short. So let's say we want to check if the password is hello world or if it's less than 8 symbols. So in this case, we're going to go here in the initial if statement, and we're going to say if password equals hello world or, and we're using this operator or, if password dot length is less than 8, then we're going to say your password is too simple. Let's see if it works. So let's say our password is going to be just hello. And that way it says your password is too simple. So our operator works. So that is if statements. Another way that you can write this program, there is another type of conditional statement, which is switch, which allows you to check for many statements in a more simple and a more elegant way. Let me show you the syntax here. So imagine we have all that logic here and we want to rewrite it. In this case, we can say switch, and we're going to be checking for passwords. So we'll put our variable that we're checking for inside the parentheses. Then we open the curly brackets, and then we'll start listing the cases. So we're checking for password. Let's say our case will be hello world. We put semicolon, and then we say console write line, your password is too simple. And then we need to put another thing here. As you can see, it says that control cannot follow out a switch from final case label, which is very verbose. Basically, what we need to do here is put break at the end of this check. And then we can start listing other cases. So we say case query will be query is too simple of a password. And then we'll basically say break again. And here's another interesting thing. So instead of saying just else in the switch statement, we'll say default. So default means any other case that was not considered above. So we'll say you have successfully registered as our default case. And we'll say break at the end. So now it works exactly the same. We can check by erasing this and running our program. So let's see. Enter your password. So let's say our password is hello world. Your password is too simple. Let's say our password is QWERTY. QWERTY is too simple of a password. And then let's say our password is anything else. You have successfully registered. So that's pretty much it. So these were conditionals. Let me know if you have any questions left in the comments. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment under the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.